Oh, yeah. Now it's on? Okay. My name is Robert Hock, freelance Sitecore specialist, one of the organizers of this SUGCON. And I have Alex with me here. So he's a senior Sitecore architect at Sitecore. And together, we actually, for the last 2-3 months, we actually started working on the Microsoft bot framework, also in combination with Sitecore, of course. So we have an agenda for you today. So we're going to explain a little bit on what the Microsoft bot framework is. I don't know if you can raise hands who've already taken a look at the Microsoft bot framework. A couple of people, not all of them, so that's good. So for this conference, we built a SUGCON bot. So I don't know if you already seen some tweets about it, maybe on LinkedIn, some posts on it. And we're going to explain a little bit more on the language understanding intelligence service by Microsoft. Bas and Rob already talked about it briefly in their session. And Alex will do a major part on how to connect actually the bot with Sitecore. So that's very interesting. And especially with the SUGCON bot, I also integrated it with several channels such as web chat and Skype and also Facebook Messenger. So I don't know if you guys have your mobile phones with you. If you have Messenger installed, just search for Sitecore bot and just start interacting with the bot. It will mainly give you some agenda information session. I will walk through it in this session. So why bot? It's a huge term now, terminology these days, and Microsoft is heavily investing in it. We're seeing a huge momentum now in that everybody wants to have a chatbot. I see some people from Mirabeau here. They launched a chatbot. A lot of companies are actually launching chatbot these days because you can really connect with a lot of people because you can integrate it, for example, with channels such as Facebook Messenger. So, but the bot landscape is quite huge. So we have all these developer frameworks and tools. We have channels. We have artificial intelligence services, language processing, speech processing, image recognition. So it's pretty big. And in this session, we're actually focusing this on Microsoft technology. So mostly skipping all the APIs that are already on the internet. So we're not going to talk about them, but just Microsoft technology. So Microsoft actually at Build 2016 last year, it was in May or maybe a month earlier. Satya Nadella actually announced he saw this big revolution of bots, that he was actually expecting that bots will be the new apps, and that only a couple of chat platforms will actually remain, and that a lot of companies are actually. Oh, now it goes. Did you press mute or something? Yeah, I just pressed. Thank you. That these will be the new apps, and that a lot of companies are creating those bots, and that will be one of the main channels that people are actually interacting with brands. So Microsoft has this vision of artificial intelligence services all connected with their intelligence cloud, as they call it. We talk about, at the end of the presentation, we're going to talk a little bit on the highlights of Build 2017 and see what they're actually upgrading in the new version. So if you go to dev.botframework.com, you can actually download the the SDKs, and Alex will talk about it a little bit later. There's a lot of examples in there and on several bots, which you can have a look at. Created a bot for you, like I said, and how we did it was actually just having this one large pile of if statements, because that's how we do it, right? No, I'm just kidding. So that's not how we do it. We want to have intelligent bots, so language understanding processes, cognitive services. And that is all called by Microsoft as a conversation as a platform.
Yeah. Well, to give a start, the bot builder SDK that we used contains of 4 layers, the architecture. Well, the most common layer, of course, is the SDK. That's the basis of your bot. On top of that, you add smart intelligence. In our case, we used Microsoft Cognitive Services, and we've used some other knowledge. And the other knowledge in our case was for the SUGCON agenda bot, was the agenda for today and tomorrow, of course, and all the sponsor information and the speaker information. And for the Sitecore bot, we use Sitecore. That's the part on the right side and the left side are the cognitive services. The services we use, like Lewis. We could have used other services, but we mainly wanted to focus on Lewis because we want to get the conversation going, and we want to understand what the users were saying to us and what they meant. The third layer is the Microsoft Bot Directory, because if you create a bot, you create awesome bots, you can use it in your own emulator, but that's not what you want from a bot. You want others to discover it, so you have to place it in the bot directory. You can use application insights for analytics, and there are all several types of dashboards you can use to monitor your bot, what it's actually doing. On top of that, you have the Microsoft Bot Connector. This is a top layer that you don't have to worry about, because Microsoft makes sure that your bot is being adapted to all of these channels. And for certain channels, you need to do some more logics. I guess Robbert will mention it later on. Skype has some difficulties. Facebook has some difficulties. If you want to put your bot on Facebook Messenger or put your bot on Skype or other channels, sometimes you need to do a little bit more of specifically Facebook type of coding. But the channels, of course, that's the way you want to get your users to get into contact with. Most important difference, that's the part where the intelligence comes in. This part is really Microsoft's own stuff, of course, the cognitive services and all other services you can use. Your bot can't live without that layer. It's a really important layer, and you can make a difference between the bots. To get into a little piece of documentation, Microsoft has a lot of documentation about the bot builder SDK and the bot framework. You can visit it and find it via dev.botframework.net. There's documentation about the C# implementation, documentation about the Node.js implementation. There is an Azure bot service. When you're not a developer, you can create bots just by clicking and connecting things. So that's also really nice. But we mainly focus only on the C# part. I think I will try to look into Node.js if I can learn the language, and just to see what the difference is between the C#-based bots and the Node.js bots. What I said before, the bot framework of Microsoft has a really nice emulator. You can use the emulator to test your bot, use it in development, but not only in development. You can use it to access bots that are actually published in directories. You can secure your bot by adding bot authentication, and it works really nice out of the box. But the emulator is really focused on the conversations. You can start new conversations. You can recycle those if you would like. You can just inspect what part of the conversation gives the specific JSON, because everything that goes around is JSON, and you can just inspect what message delivers which JSON. What is the bot, technically speaking? The C# edition, of course. We used the the Microsoft Bot Builder SDK, and what that means is that a bot is an API, web API, and that handles activities. It's all post methods that are being executed to the message in our case. And different types of activities are the messaging, contact relation updates, the end of conversation. Maybe you would like to get rid of some stuff. All other types of events. If a user is starting to type, then that leads into a post to the API. And you can. So that's really nice. But the main focus was in this part was the message activity. And the other part was that conversations live in dialogues. The dialogue is broken up into really tiny parts, because if I'm talking to Robert and I'm talking about the weather, we're only interested in things about the weather, about what kind of beer Robert likes. Then it's really a dialogue about beer. The conversation could be containing several dialogues. And you can use logics to check all those dialogues, whether you want to use that or not. And the intelligence for deciding which dialogue you want to use, that's an whole topic which Robert will be talking about in a few. Dialogues follow the single responsibility principle. Like I said, a dialogue really is about one topic. A dialogue shouldn't be more than, well, for example, 100, 150 lines of code. If you make it the right way, it must implement the dialog interface, and that only requires one method, and that's the start async method. It's located in a namespace, of course, and the dialog must be serialized, because if you serialize it, it could be sent over, and it leads into JSON in this case. So your dialogues need to be serializable. If you put stuff in your dialog that you don't want them to be serialized, just ignore them. Make sure you do that, because otherwise your bot will have certain errors. To give it a really small example, I will show the Echo bot. The Echo bot is really a project template you can download from Microsoft. So you can start a new project, and it starts the Echo bot example. And just to give an idea of what it does, I'll show it to you. I'm using Visual Studio 2017 at the moment, which doesn't support project templates the way I was used to. Just start a new instance of Visual Studio, and I've already created a new. Where is it? I'm looking for my empty Visual Studio instance, and here it is. I've already created a new instance of the project template, so I'll just open the, well, just close this one. I think I've deleted it. Well, just hold on. There goes the Echo bot. And I will open it on the other side. And here's the Echo bot. Was it 2017 or 2015? Excuse me. This is the. It's not loading. It's loading. Okay. Well, this is really the project template just spun up. It contains one simple controller, the message controller, to give an idea what it contains. It contains a message controller that implements the API controller. Okay, never mind. It has one action, the post action, that handles activities. The activity is being interpreted, and this one is a message activity, and it's being handed over. This conversation is handed over to a root dialog, and if you check in the root dialog, then it just handles a message, and it will reply something with, well, you sent this piece of text that was this amount of characters long. And you can use it. You can use it in your emulator. I think I'm going to skip the emulator piece, because if Visual runs into a problem, then I'm not taking the risk of having the emulator.
Just press F5 and then.
Yeah, we will get into the emulator later on, so I think I'll skip the emulator part. I'm sorry for the rush, but we're in a really tight schedule with a few more slides, of course. Robert will get into the emulator in a few seconds. So give the word to Robert.
Okay. So one thing I did, what we did for the last couple of months, was actually building this SUGCON bot. Where's the clickers here, right? So so I integrated with web chat. So if you go to the website, like succon.au/bot, so you can already see it. In Skype, yeah, Alex talked briefly about the bot directory. For some reason, Microsoft still didn't approve it, but it already works. I'm going to show you it later on in a couple of seconds. But in Facebook Messenger, if you search for Sitecore bot, yeah, we called it Sitecore bot. Should have actually called it SUGCON bot, but yeah. so it's already there. Yeah, so its main purpose was showing agenda information, session information, speaker information, sponsors, and see what kind of evening activities we have. So during the development, I actually sometimes ran into a wall, but I'm going to demo it you. So I'll tap. Let me see, where is
this one?
Now first I'm going to go to Skype. Where's the mouse? Where's the mouse? There it is. There it is. So you're in Skype. Going to show Facebook Messenger as well. Oh yeah, thanks. So what we can do normally, you just start. Yeah, you start actually with the chart. Can we? No, you don't get to see the whole. Can I scroll up?
Yeah.
There. Okay. Oh yeah, there I see it. Yeah, sorry. So if I say hi, now it already gets some hero cards back. So oh, now it goes into the wrong intent. I don't know what happened, but Lewis is actually bothering me. I will restart. Okay. Just want to say hi, bot. So the SUGCON bot is typing, hi there. Welcome to the SUGCON Europe bot. So please make us a selection. So show me the agenda. So we have the best agenda for you for this conference, and show me the agenda on day 1. As you can see, this is the Skype channel. It now loads a lot of hero cards, but it's not allowed to actually show multiple hero cards in a carousel. So that's one of the disadvantages of this channel. So if we click more info, then it will show more info on the closing day thing. But we can also type in something like this. Show me the Azure sessions. So show me the Azure sessions. So we have great sessions on Azure. It goes really fast, so maybe I should pick a short topic. So actually, Bas and Rob already talked a little bit about Azure. Yeah, our bot is running in Azure as well. So Stephen will talk about Azure. So these are actually the sessions on Azure. So I will discuss it in a few moments, how we actually were able to achieve this. So now if we go to a different channel, and Alex, where's Facebook? Okay.
I'll bring it up.
Okay. It should. Yes. Okay. The great thing about a channel as Facebook is that, okay, probably people are here in the room, and I can immediately see, I recognize Edward. So I immediately can see, okay, what he's doing. So Facebook is a great channel, what he's actually doing. What's the next session in Route 3? Yeah, okay, now it goes into the wrong intent. Agenda, day 1. He saw this, he wants to have more info about Microsoft Cognitive Service because that's probably the session that he will be attending next to this one. Yeah, so you can actually see the whole conversation through this channel, which is awesome. So Facebook, it's a great platform. So yeah, you mentioned my name, and I got into another intent. So I see my 10 as well. Okay, hope you don't break it. Now we can actually break the bot because the bot builder here is actually throwing an exception because it's just pressing a thumb. For some reason, the bot builder SDK is not able to process this at the moment. So yeah, there's also something I can. So we have a different interface as well for the web chat. So this is actually the web chat interface, just some panel. So if I now show me a particular sessions, we get a carousel. So and that's something that Skype wasn't able to actually show. Show me the sessions on Helix. Okay, we have a couple of sessions on Helix. So here, oh, there's a session next door. There will be a session on Helix afterwards, and tomorrow there will be some more sessions, and we have Emil and Thomas as well talking about Helix. So you see, we have these different kind of channels, and yeah, different outputs. Let me see. Is that the PowerPoint? No. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, that was a short demo of the SUGCON bot. We will return to it when I talk about Lewis, and now Alex will talk a little bit more.
Yeah, because well, actually, this is Sitecore SUGCON conference, of course. If you have an agenda bot, that's great, but you would like to do something with Sitecore. So I've been focusing on building a bot with Sitecore, and well, I have a few challenges. And to be honest, some challenges were too big to cope with. The ultimate goal was to create a conversational bot that integrates with the whole experience platform. For example, if a visitor goes to the website, he orders a product, he gets the product sent home, he sees a QR code on the box on the product that says, "Hey, want to get more information on this product, or chat about chat with other users, or get in touch with the technical people, just scan the QR code and go to Facebook Messenger or whatever." He scans the code, he gets to the Facebook Messenger app and just start chatting with the technical guy. You can put some extra stuff in it just to make sure that he's talking about the right topic. You can set up different channels, of course. Well, that challenge was a bit too big because, well, I've got a full-time job, of course, and my spare time is also quite scarce. So, well, I've lowered the bar a bit because I needed to create a demo site, of course, and to do it with the least amount of effort, I really needed XConnect. Now, XConnect isn't available yet, of course. 8.2 update 3 doesn't contain it, and it was way too consuming to create the whole stack to make the right APIs to get all the things working, and I needed to create self APIs, of course. So my new goal was to create a conversational bot that communicates with Sitecore from an operational level. An operational level, of course, is not visitor-oriented, but it's more like DevOps-oriented or administrator-oriented within Sitecore. I only had 2 challenges left, was to create an authentication mechanism between the bot and Sitecore, because if I've got a bot and someone just adds it in Skype or somewhere. You don't want anyone to create users or just to mess up with your website. So I've created an authentication mechanism to authenticate the bot with Sitecore. And I created several APIs to get all my intents, what I was wanting to do with the bot, to make them work and to understand what I was doing. So I've created a multi-dialogue conversational bot. Like Satya Nadella said, it's conversation as a platform, something to keep in mind. It's a nice buzzword. I created an authentication for the bot for the user of the bot with Sitecore. And I've created several APIs to get all the things working. I also made use of form flow. I will get into form flow in 2 simple slides in a moment. And I made use of the Application Insights REST API. I don't know if anyone knows it. This Application Insights REST API is something that's currently in preview. You can use it to get all the information that's being sent to Application Insights to make your own reports, or just a query on stuff. It's really nice. The Sitecore bot uses Lewis just to get the conversation put into a model and to interpret what the user was trying to do, and to grab all the entities out of the conversation just to make the right use of it. I created several dialogues, an authentication dialogue, of course, user management. I'm retrieving some stuff from XDB. I've got the publish mechanism working. I'm going to fiddle with indexing, and of course I've got Application Insights working. Well, the authentication with Sitecore, it's really important to know that a conversation has a few things. A conversation can have multiple users, of course, within a chat, and you don't want the effect that if one of the users in a conversation is authenticated with Sitecore, that other users can make use of the authenticated user to handle stuff in Sitecore. The right place to do this is in private conversation data. The bot context of the dialog context has bot data, and bot data has 3 important things: user data, things you know about the user, like identifier and stuff. Conversation data is information about the whole conversation and all other users that are in the conversation, and also the channel, of course. And private conversation data. And the private conversation data is really something personal for all the users that are in the same conversation. And the last one, delete state for a user. I've created a really classic UML diagram. We have, of course, the user, we have the bot, and we have what I've created, an authentication API. If someone starts talking to the bot and Lewis says, well, this is an intent, for example, to create a user, then I'm checking if that user is authenticated. And if the user is authenticated, I will check if the token that I'm providing is valid, is still valid. If that's not valid, I will send a message back that the user needs to authenticate himself. And if the token is valid, I will check, of course, if the user has the right roles and the right privileges to act with the bot. So this really simple thing, I will show it in the code and a demo. I've also created like a sequence diagram, but I will skip this slide and go into the next slide. And this slide will visualize what the authentication between the bot, the user, and Sitecore is doing. If the user has a conversation with the bot, and in the intent that we're detecting with Lewis, we see that the user wants to do something with a user, create a user, delete a user, stuff. Then we'll check from, well, is the user authenticated? If it's not authenticated, we will force it to be authenticated. And it always checks if the user is authenticated. It checks if the token is still valid. If the token isn't valid, we'll send it, of course, to this. But in the authentication moment, Sitecore checks if the user isn't authenticated. If the user isn't authenticated, it will create some information that will be sent to Sitecore. Sitecore generates a ticket, and the ticket is basically a random string, which I use to identify the conversation. because you don't want real conversation data being handed over in URLs. The bot tells the user that the user should log in into Sitecore, and it has the ticket being set in the URL. The user authenticates himself. Sitecore confirms authentication, or just or just fails, of course. And if the authentication is successful, Sitecore will update information with the bot. It says, well, this conversation, and that's basically what the ticket contains, this conversation and this user is authenticated, and this is his handle. The bot will get the profile of the user, and from that point, it stores a profile in the private conversation data. And the private conversation data contains the full name of the user, and the bot will reply to the user, well, hello, administrator, or hello, Alex, hello, Robbert, and you will see that the user is authenticated. And also Sitecore replies to the user in the web browser that everything is okay in terms of authentication. To make this more visible, I will show a really short demo. Yeah, a really short demo. I will only use Skype for this. And this is the Skype App Store version, of course. If I was using the desktop version, things will break because the desktop version contains too many advertisements, and you end up with a really small scale to show your conversation in. Well, the last thing I was asking the bot if I want to list the users. I want to ask the bot if he could show me a list of the users that are available in Sitecore. I think the ticket is already expired. So I'll ask him show me a list of users. I can make a typo, but I don't want to make a typo. This will be sent to Sitecore eventually if I'm authenticated. Well, in this case, I'm not authenticated. I think Sitecore has already given up on me. Ah, there it is. Yeah. I was still authenticated. It's great. I think I was authenticated in a whole different way. These are two users that are in Sitecore for us, administrator user and the service API user. But in this point, I would like to sign out. And the bot will ask me, do you really want to sign out? Yes, I want to sign out. And he tells me, well, you're a wise person. If I say hello to the bot or something else, then I'm not authenticated, and the bot will respond with a random greeting. And he doesn't know who I am. So, well, to make sure that that I'm authenticated, I will ask something. Well, log in. Oh, the bot knows. Well, I'm not authenticated. At this point, he's getting a ticket, and the ticket being used to form a URL that's in it's put behind the connect button. And well, I'm not standing here with Bobby Hack, so I'll just press connect. I'll get into a login window, and this is basically a ripoff of the Sitecore login window. I've just replaced a whole bunch of stuff, and I've also made sure, because the Sitecore login window also checks the referrer and stuff. So if you want to do this, yeah, well, you need some work. I will authenticate myself. I will log in. Sitecore will check if I'm authenticated, and he says, "Well, login succeeded." On my screen, I've received a pop-up notification from Skype. I can close this tab, and he says, "Well, please continue in the chat." And from this point, he knows who I am, unless my access token is invalidated. I will remain authenticated. So if I say list users, it shows me a list of users. If I say hi, you just send a greeting, say, "Oh, administrator," because he knows who I am. 10 minutes. Yeah. Is that yes? I'm listening. So I can communicate with the bot. Yeah, I'm going to show some code first. Some other things I did, I was working with the publish API and an indexing API, so I'll just subscribe myself to a few events. I think he will. Wow. He thinks it's indexed well.
Probably Lewis's fault. So.
This time he will know. I wanted to know to subscribe to both of them, so it's okay by now. So to show you that Sitecore is really sending stuff to me, I will log in to the backend of Sitecore. And for the people who are at the Sitecore user group meeting at Macau, I think I was doing no
LBI, yeah.
LBI, thank you. I was mentioning I did a presentation with an a la carte system. Basically, it was a whole bunch of slides with all different kinds of topics, just to inspire people, and also myself and Robbert, because Robbert came to me afterwards and said, "Well, I want to make this into a session." One of the things I was mentioning is I really would like to have a bot that tells me when somebody starts to publish, or I want to have a notification if an index or an index is being rebuilt. Well,
something you want to do an item on?
Yeah. Let's just publish a website. Well, I'm logged into Sitecore as an administrator, but it doesn't matter. No, it will be fast enough. I just republished a whole bunch. So I already received a notification from my bot, and well, it says administrator, and this account is just started to republish to publish everything. This is of course for the whole site. If we go back to Sitecore, we can just close this one. Go to the content editor. And I know all of you guys know really silly content editors who publish every change they make. They change a field, save it, publish it. Well, it's something you really would like to be notified on. If it switches, then I'll come back to it. And also Sitecore will send a notification if an index is being rebuilt, because at this point this conversation is subscribed to indexing events. So I had a few nights in the past 3-4 weeks that I was just in the middle of the night being reminded that, well, a suggested test index being rebuilt. So well, that's something that happens, of course. Yeah. I just want to show this one to publish a single item. Yeah. And it's going to show that that I've just started to publish. I think Sitecore is having a hard time at the moment. I think we're going to switch back to the Sitecore.
Skip form flow. Yeah.
Well, really fast. I can do it in 1 minute. Form flow is something really nice. 5 minutes. We're going to go really fast. Form flow is natural guidance and help for helping you with asking stuff from people. I've created form flow class for creating users. In the class, I've added a few things, but you can use form flow for anything you would like. The slides are being shared afterwards, so I'm skipping this one. This simple class is all you have to do to use form flow. It's all about having simple properties, no getters and setters, some attributes, have a build form method that returns an I form of, in this case, create user. And builds up the form. You can put messages in it. You can ask, you can change the order of fields, and you can choose for a prompt for would you really like to create a user with this name and stuff. It's really nice. I can show it now. Now, if you want to see how it works, I can show it afterwards. Over to Robbert again.
Is that the? Yeah, we'll skip this one for first. We talk a little bit on. There are new things coming, new channels. Actually, announced during Build 2017. Cortana, Skype for Business. and they actually added adaptive cards now, which we didn't process. We forgot a couple of slides, and that's how it goes. Okay, so I did the demo. So about cognitive services. So we, yeah, the important thing is actually this one, language understanding, which we did, and I just want to show it. So this is my, oh yeah, it's coming. Yes. Okay, this is the SUGCON event bot. I have to. Okay, there's my mouse. So we have we are here in Lewis.ai. So we have this dashboard, and Bas already showed a little bit on a slide about the intents. So we create for this SUGCON bot, we create some things about us, who built this bot. So you can actually say, okay, you can actually label particular things. So if you want to remove a label, so who has built this bot? So for example, who has built? You can actually say, okay, that's a I want to label that as my about entity. So the utterances are actually the sentences that people are actually typing in and are actually communicating with the bot. So now we can save this. So we had all these intents. So as you can see here, we have a Bobby Hack intent. I'm going to show you a few gimmicks later on, if we have time left. So we have a list of entities, for example, a speaker entity. So in the intent, if somebody searches for speaker information, so we have the entity, when is, for example, Robbert speaking, when is Alex speaking. Yeah, you see a couple of duplicates in here. So we're both not sure what Lewis is doing there, because if you remove a label here, you can actually see it. Okay, well, it's Sir and Engel, but somebody just typed in their last name. Now and the bot wasn't able to actually process it at that time, but I was actually being able to actually assign this to a specific speaker.
People tend to forget the question mark at the end. So
yeah,
it doesn't.
Does it have to be precisely that text?
No. It's a bit smart. So we have these features here. So for example, for speakers, I created a list. So if this ever comes in, or something comes in, and I can actually especially show it with the greetings dialog. So there are a bunch of greetings here, and if I actually type in here maybe howdy, so I just add howdy. Now it says, okay, maybe you want to say, okay, that this is something that might be also valuable if people type this in, that it's also a greeting intent. So you can just add them all, for example. But yeah, if somebody says good night, would that be a greeting intent? No, I guess not. And now I have to switch. Yeah, cancel. Yeah, there is a break in the end. We'll go on for another 5 minutes. So I just want to show you this because here you can actually test it. So what is Alex talking about? So now it already knows, okay, Alex is probably the speaker. And based upon that whole sentence that was already sent in, you can actually now see, okay, this is my top scoring intent. It's actually the speaker information. There is also an endpoint where you can actually get more information in Lewis AI. Come on. What?
Just call
up. Oh, sorry. I want to go there. Yes. There's an endpoint here. Okay, goes Control Enter. You go all the way to the back. Okay. Yes. This is the endpoint where we can actually ask the same question. So now you can actually see, I just typed in where's Robert Hock talking about. It got this top scoring intent, speaker information, but it also shows how it does the mapping, Robert Hock as my entity speaker. So that way it knows immediately, okay, that particular part in the sentence, in the utterance, is a particular speaker. So it also knows how to tell jokes. I just wanted to show it.
No, just click.
So we have some jokes in there as well. Huh? Okay.
Actually, I got a message from your bot that David Walker is about speaking.
So why can't you be my friend? So I don't know if Akshay is in this room actually, but we got him as well in the bot. So let's switch to the PowerPoint again. So that was a little demo on the Lewis part. Now Alex is something that he already talked about. This one. So go check out the next session by Mark Stiles. He's going more and more deeper into cognitive services with all the other APIs. And
Of course, the last slide.
thank you to all the sponsors for this event, and I hope you enjoyed it. Yeah, unfortunately we both weren't with time limitation. We weren't able to actually show our code. We will open source it as well, and maybe just approach us during these 2 days. We can actually demo you a little bit in Visual Studio on how we actually build things.
And if you want to see more about what the Sitecore bot can do, I can show my phone because I'm working on your phone. So just get in touch.
Thanks.